This is Control, Spacekookie, your game is a go.
Hey, what's up everybody? So it's been a hot minute since I've been able to post to the channel simply because, mobile gaming, it's been kind of thin out there on good games. So I've been searching and, exploring and people have been suggesting things. And so today we're going to explore car repair simulator games. Now, when you Google that or you get on your app store or whatever the case may be, you're going to find one that is called, it's by Melody Games, it's called Car Repair Simulator 2021. I'm going to call this Car Repair 21. And you're going to find another one that's been released about 2 months ago. It's by SCC Games AS or SA. Anyways, and I would say that it's competitive to the game that is also Car Repair 21 is on Xbox. I'm not sure about the Car Repair Simulator racing game. I don't think that it's on there, but I have not denied nor confirmed that, but I don't believe so. So if you know, leave a comment down below. Moving on. So the difference between the two games are actually, there's a lot of good nuances between the two. As you can see here, basically you do tear down a car. There's two different sections. You've got the chassis and the in the racing repair game, you can tear the engine down or you can tear the chassis down, and you're basically running a shop. And you make calls, you fill orders, you can go to auctions, you can spend the in-game currency that is the most valuable thing ever, and you are running a shop and time ticks by while you make a profit or make losses. It is a little faster pace because there are certain tricks and tips that you can do to that the other game does not have, but basically you have this feature where and both games have this, where you can look at all the parts that are available to you, and you can look inside certain things to see if there's damages within the engine or within the chassis itself that you may not see from looking outside of it. So that is actually quite helpful. It's very nice. But the difference between the Repair 21 and the Car Repair Racing game is that when on the Car Repair Racing game, when you take off a stabilizer or a spring absorber, guess what? You take the entire thing apart. You take the entire thing in its entirety off. You don't break it down, whether you've got this cap, then you have the spring, and then you have the body of the device itself. No, you just remove the part all at once, or you put the part all on at one time. And in the Repair 21 game, you have bushings. You can often lose a part, and there's ghost parts in 21 Car Repair 21. And it is much more in depth. The mobile game version is, I don't believe it's as in depth as the console Xbox, but that's beyond the scope of this video, really. And so on the racing game, you actually get to race stuff. On the mobile version of Car Repair 21, you don't actually get to race. You do time lapse. You compete with online. I don't know what it's like on the Xbox, but I can only tell you what I know from the mobile. Now, you don't have a skill tree in Car Repair 21. On the mobile version, all you have is to upgrade your tools. And it takes a lot of money, and it takes really just taking your time, getting it right, making your profit. It's kind of like you have to, in my opinion, you have to sell cars instantly using either a video or the in-game currency, which is again what you'll run out of if you just splurge. You know how these games go. But, in this game, that in-game currency, the blue little coins up in the upper right-hand corner, it's not blue. I think they're gold pieces. At any rate, those most precious things, you can't just splurge those. But when you run into a really big job and you have to tear down an entire engine, you can just use that to this blue thing down at the toolbar all the way to the left. You can just splurge it to get rid of all of your problems instantly, but you can't do it very often. If you're, losing a ton of money, it might get you back into good balance, good graces of this game. So, what's the major differences between Car 21 and the racing? Well, the racing element of the car repair racing game is you actually don't race others online. Now, you don't actually race others online in the mobile version of Car 21, but you don't have others to compete with. In this game, you are basically just trying to get through the track, get through the course by a certain time, and it actually goes in depth where you can get a car, break it down, put a nice engine in it. You can auction for certain engines and put them in vehicles that you've bought, and you just make a super nice car that fits your style. Is it extremely detailed? I would say no. I would say it's almost generic, but again, on the mobile version of Car Repair 21, there's not much. You're just trying to beat your best time, beat others. There's a list of times, and you're trying to get the highest that you can on that list. Beat that course with better than everybody else, or place high, and you get rewards out of it. In this, there is no reward system. It's not a online thing. You basically just get through the course by a certain time and you get rewards. So you can see here that you can break stuff down and you get to take multiple parts off. And this is actually Car Repair 21, where you take individual pieces out of the engine. Okay, so on the racing game, if you take out the spark plugs, all of the spark plugs are bad. You take them all off at one time, and you either repair them, which is a hit or miss, or you can just go buy a new set. Repairing typically will cost you, on average, less, but then on Car Repair 21, you have to buy all new parts and put them in there. And there is a description at what's going on with that car and a percentage of what's bad. So you might pull a part and you might have had a previous part that you can put on there because it's only 75%, which the rules of the game tell you, of that car. All the parts have to be above 75%. So you pull a part that's at 12%, you haven't sold off your broken parts, and it's above 75%, you can put it on there, and for that car it's good enough. For that customer it's good enough. So this is just racing in the car repair racing game. And it is much better. It is difficult. I've spun out. You can drift around corners. I really think that the racing element and the graphics on the racing car repair game is much better. And the price reflects it. If you're going to remove ads from the car repair racing game, you're going to spend $10. Now, if you want Car Repair 21, guess what? You're going to spend about $8, $9, something along those lines. Unless it's on a deal, then you can get it as low as $6 or something like that. It's still quite nice, and frankly, in my opinion, I have both of these games. I enjoy both of them because of the different aspects. One seems to have a better racing element, while the other one seems to have a better, finicky, detailed, breaking the components of one part down to get to the bad part, while the other is more generic. You just remove that part and replace the whole thing at once. In one, you have all day long. There's no, in Car Repair 21, there's no time limit. You can take a week, or you can take, like, there's no sense of time in that game, built into that game. Now, on the Car Repair Racing game, you have days that pass by, and you have weekly profits and losses, and you have more things to unlock. You have an entire skill tree to go through. And that's quite nice, and that's good. I just kind of wish that they would take the two aspects of these games, throw them together, but that's not the case. Not for a mobile game. So, I'm talking about strictly mobile because I'm a mobile game player and a mobile game reviewer here on YouTube. And by the way, if you enjoy this, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Stay up to date. Look at my other games that I've played. There's a lot of good games because there are good mobile games out there. Getting back to this, there's multiple things here to unlock. There's a whole set of things to achieve. I think there's more depth to the car mechanic racing game than there is the mobile version of Car Racing Simulator 2021, and that's just my opinion. So which one, if I was to spend money on one, which one would I spend money on? I honestly think that I would spend money on the Racing Simulator game because it's got those elements that I feel like a sense of achievement. The downside to that is it's quite repetitive. There's no pickiness. It's select the part, take it off, try to repair it, or just say, you know what, never mind. I haven't got the skills to repair things often, so it's better for me to buy a new part. Now, I will say this. If you lose a part in the Car Repair Simulator Racing game, if you throw a part away before you buy another one and then you don't remember if it was the left and helps a lot, don't get me wrong, is a lifesaver because sometimes, well, let me just say it like this. In the Car Repair Simulator Racing game, if you lose a part and there's no ghost image, you gotta figure out that part, which makes it harder, but it just is more meticulous in the sense that you buy that part before you throw it away. If it has to be recycled, go ahead and buy that part before you throw it away, because once you throw it away and you have it, you're not going to be able to find that car. There's no ghost image, so it's harder and you have to pay attention to what you're doing, which is a good thing and a bad thing. You have to be meticulous. In this way, instead of breaking down individual opponents like you do in Car 21, you basically have to make sure that you don't lose parts, which any mechanic actually has to make sure they do. If it's a good part, you set it aside and you continue to get to the bad cards. So it's a little bit more realistic. It's the car racing game is about racing, but it's also about upgrading stuff and taking the time to get into it and get the racing where you want. It's the long-term goal, while turnover, short-term game, increase your money, do your small little races, get your I would pay the $10 for the racing game, and I would pay the $8-9 for the other game, because they're so different that they're not so similar that I would say one's better than the other. It's your style of play. What kind of game do you want? Do you want where you basically have a repair shop, turn over stuff a lot, or do you want to have it where you get to take your time and you have to break down each individual things, and it's about being precise and pickiness and that kind of thing? Yeah. I personally, if I only had money for one of them, it would be the car racing game. So anyways, I want to say thank you for everything. I do appreciate you.
This is Control. Spacekookie, your game is a go.